Criminals have realized that some homes are easier to rob than a convenience store. They could be looking for money or valuable possessions, or they could have darker intentions. We cannot choose whether or not we will face a threat, but we can choose to be prepared. Soldiers and officers are trained to survive dangerous conflicts. Are you?
You don't know when something's going to happen. You don't know when you're sleeping soundly in your bed at night that your wife wakes you up and says, "I just heard something. The alarm just went off."
If you never see the attack coming, you're not going to be a player in it. An ambush, if you're not paying attention, is way too easy. So taking account of who is around the threat areas that somebody could be hidden in, somebody could ambush you from, is a critical skill.
SWAT Commander David Bowie and his wife Nicole are skilled shooters capable of protecting themselves. They are training with firearms instructor Ken Hackathorn on home defense tactics at the Fort Harmar Rifle Club in Marietta, Ohio. A firearm is used in self-defense 800,000 times a year, and anyone planning on using a gun in self-defense must be properly trained. There are ranges and gun clubs across America that are available to those who want to train with an instructor to be better prepared to defend themselves.
Scenario is he's at home, he hears somebody break into his house, he has to respond. Remember, he is an SRT team commander. He knows his tactics pretty well, so the way he's going to go about it will probably be a little bit more aggressive than some people would be. Okay, Dave, on my command. Ready?
Ready.
And up.
SWAT Commander David Bowie is a highly trained marksman and demonstrates high-end tactics when clearing a house. By constantly scanning the room for threats, pieing the corner to minimize his exposure, and keeping his weapon close to prevent a criminal from grabbing it, David demonstrates how an expert runs through this room-clearing exercise.
Stop! Do not move! Get out of my house! Okay, now we've got Dave Bowie's wife, Nicole. The scenario is she's at home by herself. Somebody breaks into her house, she's got an intruder in her house, and she's got to respond. She's going to do it slightly different days, probably a lot less aggressive manner. And in her case, she's going to summon 911 before she does anything else.
This is Nicole Bowie. I'm at Fort Harmar Apartments and I've got an intruder. It's going to be how long? No, he's in the house. I can't wait that long.
A civilian should always call 911 when they believe someone has broken into their home. But if their lives or the lives of their loved ones are in immediate threat, a trained shooter can choose to take action.
Stop! Get out of my house!
Okay, what we've just seen here is an example of both Dave and Nicole clearing the structure, protect themselves from a home invader. And what you notice, the difference in tactics was really pretty similar. In both cases, they had to pie the corners, check for dangerous areas. They had to protect the gun as they moved around the corners so nobody could grab it and take it away from them. Well-placed shots, the end result's going to be the same. The target is going to neutralize. In either case, they're going to leap, and that's the good thing.
We've covered the basic tactics for clearing a room. No one wants to wake up from a dream to find a nightmare. If a homeowner feels that someone has broken into their house during the night, their first action should be to call 911, find a safe corner of the house, and let the police do the job they are trained for. A concerned homeowner can also emulate these officers by also being well-trained and well-equipped.
It is important to train with a weapon in all environments and all conditions, and the reason for that is people make the biggest mistakes by not understanding what's around them. They go at life with tunnel vision.
The Plymouth, North Carolina Police Department is training on low-light shooting scenarios with the Beretta PX-4 Storm handgun, a critical exercise for law enforcement.
As far as functioning in low light situations, you need to focus on and be aware of your surroundings and also know where all your other officers are and where your suspects are. In low light situations, it's hard to keep up with everybody and where they're at.
One hand only. Up!
Low light training for officers is critical. Statistics show from FBI analysis and other studies that have been done that most or majority of shootouts with law enforcement are low light situations. So it's very imperative that we do low light training as much as we can, incorporated with other training to make sure that we're prepared for those encounters if they happen.
There's a lot of truth in the fact that you basically fight how you train. And if you're not preparing yourself, then when the actual event happens, in absence of training, you revert back to whatever it is that you have, and the outcome is not usually a good outcome.
Training with a firearm at night allows officers to be better prepared for low-light engagements. Another critical skill for any shooting scenario is the ability to use cover.
Things change when bullets start coming in your direction. Standing on a flat range in a very sterile environment is all well and good, but it does nothing to prepare an individual for the stress and the danger of incoming fire. The most important thing that we could teach an individual is the proper use of cover.
Incoming rounds have the right of way, and we want to make sure that we give them that. We want to put something between them and us, whether it deflects them, whether it stops them. In the case of even some concealment, even if it can slow a little bit of them down so that they don't have as much power. We want to make ourselves as small a target as possible.
The ability to use corners as cover is a vital skill for all level of shooters. Steve Rose is a Navy SEAL Command Master Chief who now works with the Black Hawk Special Operations Division. At the U.S. Training Center in Mayock, North Carolina, Steve demonstrates the proper way to use a corner as cover while clearing a room.
Generally speaking, we don't do high man or low man around the barricades. We stay up at a good shooting platform. The common thought is that if this is a barricade and I'm working down the hall, that I will be all the way up against the barricade and I'll take a look this way. That is generally not how we're taking the barricades. Also, what we don't do is get up against the barricade and expose ourselves this way. It's two options generally. You're going to give a pan down till you feel uncomfortable and then take it in a pan to finish it off. Or you're going to get yourself set, hand away from the wall, get yourself set, and then present yourself down the hallway into a good shooting position. The other option is, depending on the threat, is to make entry into here as if you made entry into the house. But we generally don't give the look with the face. So your options are slow pan. Your other option is barricade up to the wall, one hand relief. Down here, get your gun muzzle off, check the hallway. The other third option is making entry into the hallway, and that's a standard room entry.
The advantages of using corners as cover is obvious. You want to reveal the smallest target possible.
Cover protects you, and you've got to always search it out, look for it. If I have to draw, bang, 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 target goes down, but if there's multiple targets and I'm going to start taking fire, I need to be able to run to cover, get something between myself and the bad guys again, so then I can either reload, call for help, and then engage them in a way that hopefully they'll go away.
Statistics show that allowing citizens to carry concealed weapons reduces crime. Since 1991, the number of right-to-carry states has grown from 15 to 37, and violent crime has decreased every year.
I think it's incumbent upon us as responsible gun owners and CCW holders to be as competent, as trained, and professional as possible, and project the most positive image that we can, and that's done by training and being competent.
Dan Predovich is an award-winning competitive shooter and FBI-trained master firearms instructor.
One of the nice things about the shooting sports is that you're learning a skill unlike golf, where the shooting sport can actually save your life or save the life of another person if they are threatened by deadly force. It's also a great activity with friends and with family. What other fine sports can you shoot outdoors like this?
He has trained thousands of shooters to receive their concealed carry permits, including Teresa Burns. Teresa is not your average civilian. As a black belt in the martial arts, her bare hands qualify as weapons. Teresa owns a martial arts studio where adults and children train to defend themselves.
I think that one of the most important things any woman can do is give herself the gift of defense. I don't care if it's martial arts, I don't care if it's learning how to use a handgun, I don't care if she carries mace but learns how to use it. It's the most important thing to stepping away from being an easy target, is learning how to defend yourself even when you don't need to.
So this week, the teacher is the student. At a private range in Colorado, Dan teaches Teresa different tactics when handling a firearm.
Teresa's going to do something a little bit more advanced right now, but this is something that you would not normally do. That is to enter a doorway when you know there might be danger on the other side. It might be appropriate if you have kids at home and you need to work your way to the kids, but this is something that even police officers are going to send a canine unit in instead of the police officers going in.
Our police and military units train to enter a building with hostile targets inside by breaching the door. This method has no application for civilians, but a concerned homeowner should know how to open a closed door to clear their home of a threat.
First of all, you want to look and see how the door opens. The hinges are on the other side, so the door is going to open outward, or open that way. So the way you want to approach it is you want to step close to the door, have your right foot planted close to the door. You want to have the muzzle of your gun up and away from your hand, and you open the door and you step in. You use your left foot as a doorstop, and you shoot bang, bang, bang.
Okay?
Okay. Like that. Okay, give it a go. You're going to start with the muzzle pointed up and out that way. Hand on the doorknob.
Okay.
You want to have your hand that way, that foot close to the door. You're going to right it in with your left foot. Ready? Go. Push up with the left foot. Excellent. Peacock. You want to do it again?
You bet.
Okay.
That's
give it
fun.
a go.
Outdoor ranges can be modified to create different shooting scenarios. Adding a standing doorway to the range creates a realistic environment for a homeowner who wants to be trained to defend their home. Civilians can learn from the experts, trained for the situations you expect to face.
So I can move through a doorway now. I had a good teacher.
The homeowner or the law enforcement officer may need to shoot from the front of a car, under a car, through a window, around a corner, around a barricade. So those things have to be practiced. I think that the civilian or law enforcement officer fools themselves by just standing and shooting hundreds of rounds at a standing target. They need to shoot different positions.